We're sponsored by Cameron Commercials. If you're looking for a quality new or used van, then Shaun is your man. And with the World Cup underway, Ruffy and Tam are resplendent in their Scotland tops. We're here in the Hummel studio, delighted that you could join us. And we're going to look ahead to Scotland taking on Haiti. Absolutely sensational stuff. Fingers crossed we get the win. We'll also be talking about some of the things that have been happening over the last week or so. And in that frame of mind, Ruffy, Celtic eventually announced Martin O'Neill as manager, although the tom-tom drums had signalled that it happened quite a bit before Celtic eventually put out an official statement.
Yeah, obviously these things take time, you know. That
do they?
Well, you do when you're signing contracts.
At Celtic.
That's Celtic, yeah. Aye. But then now we hear that the coaching staff have been asked to take a reduction in wages, so I don't get that. I don't know what kind of deal they were on, you know, Maloney and the other boy. So, yeah, they've got it over the line, and I think the majority of the supporters will be happy with that decision.
Let's talk about Martin O'Neill first of all before we get to the Maloney and Fotheringham situation. Right call?
Yeah, I think it is. Obviously, I've spoken about it, Peter, over the last couple of months. I felt as if Martin had won the double, there was only one man for the job going forward, and I think he get his appetite back, he get the buzz back for football, and if he was offered it, he would take it, and that's what's happened. I think the way Celtic went about it is a bit of a shambles, to be honest with you. I think that it was leaked, a week ago, 6-7 days ago, that he was the new manager. Celtic didn't release it until, yesterday? And now, you're talking about Shaun Maloney and Mark Fotheringham having to take wage cuts, which is totally and utterly bizarre. I mean, if any two guys earned the right to go in and ask what they wanted and get what they wanted, it was those two and Martin. So a lot of Celtic fans will be unhappy with that as well. So they all come as a team. So there's a lot to be figured out at Celtic, but I think they've got the right man in charge, and hopefully the two guys get settled as well, and they're in beside him again, because I think they were really important for Martin towards the end of the season.
I'm not quite sure why that information, obviously from Shaun Maloney and Mark Fotheringham's point of view, they might just say, well, we'll fire this out here just to let everybody know what the club's doing, but I'm not quite sure why the club goes down that route, if indeed they are offering them a wage cut, because they've got 80 million in the bank. Yeah. They're about to announce figures that would rock most of Britain as far as profit. I can't understand where this club is going, and they've obviously got to try and back Martin in the transfer window to completely transform that squad. So I don't get why they would allow themselves a negative piece of news coming out when you consider that people are already scunnered with them.
Yeah, I think the only thing I can think of is that they've come in short term and they've been given a deal to be looked at again, but I don't understand the cut bit, because I'm sure Martin O'Neill has something to say about that. It's his team. As Tam said, they were all in it together, they've all done particularly well, so I don't see why you would want to offer somebody something lower than what they were on already.
Do you start to demotivate somebody before they're back in the door?
Yeah, I think that Mark and Shaun will be pretty hurt with that. Getting in, knowing they've done well, they've come into a team that was in turmoil, a club that was in turmoil, they've helped turn it around, they've went on and won the league, they've won the cup, they've done everything asked of them and more. And then to go in and be asked to take a wage reduction is really, really poor from a Celtic point of view. So demotivating them, I think they'll be a wee bit scunnered by it, because they'll feel they deserve to go in there and get at least the same money, maybe even more.
Before we talk about the World Cup, let's talk Danny Röhl. This is a strange one, heavily linked with the RB Salzburg job, and already people are saying, could this open the door to a Derek McInnes or a Steven Gerrard? But I'm flabbergasted by this one.
These rumours are not going away, Peter. And I think if you had a happy manager and settled manager, there'd be none of these rumours in the papers. I think there's someone feeding this out, and I don't know whether it's from the Danny Röhl camp, from the Rangers camp, or someone in between. I said to you about 6-7 weeks ago that I believed that Steven Gerrard would be the next manager at Rangers, and I still believe that, Peter. I don't think Danny Röhl will be the manager next season. I don't think he'll be the manager at Rangers. I think there's too much going on. He's been linked to a move to the Bundesliga. He's now getting linked to a big club in Austria. I think he's working his ticket out, and I don't think Rangers are particularly happy with him either. So I can see a new manager being at Rangers for the start of next season.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, they need to do it quickly, Ruffy, because the last thing you want to do is start all of a sudden thinking about player recruitment for a guy who's not going to be there, and then another man who comes in and goes, well, I don't really like him.
Well, they've already started bringing players in. They brought somebody in for the second, third division somewhere, 170 grand.
And Shankland.
Yes, aye, and he's in. Obviously, that's the point I touched on with Martin O'Neill. If Martin O'Neill's short term, you get out there signing players you would like to see for 2 and 3 years, and then the manager's away after you're there 8 weeks, and you're going to yourself, what's happened there? The guy who wanted me is no here longer here. So a lot of stuff getting fed out as well. Oh, the Rangers supporters would be happy if he left and all that carry on. So I think it's all about him. Has he enjoyed it? Has he enjoyed the strife that comes with being a Rangers manager? And he might see it as a get out, if the deal is on, just to move on to somewhere else, because a lot of people can't really handle being in that Glasgow situation.
What do you think about it then, from what you've seen of the way his team plays football, the answers from him at the end of a disappointing season of every game's a cup final? Do you think he'll be the manager?
It's looking more or less that he would be, depending on what the deal is. We'll have to wait and see what the owners think of it as well. Do they think he's done a good job?
Do you think Rangers fans will be
Well, I get that Rangers thing. I mean, I don't know many Rangers supporters, that have said to me, I can't stand them or anything like that. But in Glasgow, it's all about winning. Celtic have won a double. Rangers have won nothing, and that'll be held against them. But everybody's saying, well, should he get another window? Should he get another year? But I think it'll be him that'll make the decision.
Do you think he's got the qualities to derail Celtic and make sure that Hearts are not in second place?
I think he's got something. I think in the interviews we've seen of him, he talks very well. The players, majority of the players seem to like him. He's made a good signing in Shankland. So I think the Rangers supporters are waiting to see if there's any bigger signings than Shankland, instead of going down the road of poaching people for second and third division teams in other countries.
Yeah, even if he stays, I was less than impressed with him in the run-in, because if anything, I thought his whole mood changed with each passing defeat or draw. I didn't see something that suggested to me that there was a real, enthusiasm, fight, attitude of this just won't do. There was no response from his team, that was clear.
Yeah, and I don't think the majority of the Rangers supporters are fully behind them. I think they'll have seen the end of last season, as you just said there, Peter, a real opportunity to win the league. I think Rangers went favourites at one point, the big game at home to Motherwell, and if they won that, they had a real opportunity to go win the league. They lost it against Celtic at Celtic Park. I think they lost 3 games in a trot. So in that pressure situation, he didn't produce results. Rangers didn't produce results. So I don't believe that the Rangers supporters are fully behind him. There'll be 1 or 2 thinking we'll give him a window and see. But if Rangers start poorly next season, I think he'll be at the door anyway. So I think Ruffy's right. I think it's up to him. I think that Rangers board have come out and backed him and said, he's a man for the job. But I think if he fancies somewhere else and he thinks I can get out, I can go to the Bundesliga, I can go to RB Salzburg, they're a big club playing European football every year, then maybe that's a good out for me. But I just don't think he'll be the manager next season, Peter. I think something will happen in the next few weeks.
Okay, we'll wait and see. Of course, over the course of the World Cup, we'll be bringing you previews, post-match feelings from Ruffy, myself and Tam on Scotland's performances in the 3 games, and hopefully more after that. Only time will tell. You can give us who you think is going to win the World Cup, and interestingly enough, you can get on it now. We will post a link for you in the comments section where basically, if you want to predict the outcome of the games, you could win yourself a Scott McTominay painting with that overhead kick and get a print or indeed a Scotland top. Yours looks as if it's a new one, Ruffy.
I don't collect strips, as you know, so it's a replica strip.
Yeah.
I think whoever made it has put the badge a wee bit too far over.
That is a team you shot that.
And I don't think I want to pull a thread or anything like that, so it might just disappear.
And just out of curiosity, did you buy it?
Yes, I did, yes.
Wow.
I was forced into it because I've got to go to a few functions, and it looks silly if I'm in a shirt and everybody else has got a Scotland jersey.
What about your 13 stone 7 some-year-old jerseys?
They're framed. I'm not taking the frames off them.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that.
Okay. And and you've finally broken into your Partick Thistle re-signing on money to buy something.
Yes.
Usually you get it for nothing.
Usually, yeah.
Yeah, I tell you,
He's raging he's got to pay for that.
yeah, absolutely. But a chance to stand alongside Joe Jordan and others. I've watched you. You've been heavily out, working furiously.
Yeah,
and you're back with your old mucker. Is this a permanent thing? I mean, Tam and I have obviously got a plan for next year. Let me be frank. Was that,
Frank,
a second appearance? Is Frank running? Is Frank running out of guests?
No. Just let you know, this one was.
Oh, the wedge! You dancer.
No, I don't mind helping Frank out. If he's helped us out, he's come into our show tons of times when we needed him. So I just thought I should help.
Do him a turn.
Yeah,
because once you see him a second time, Tam, I mean, you texted me immediately and went, "He's for the off." But that's.
I think he's working his ticket. I think he sees the end coming here. I think he sees me coming through like a train up the rails. And he's going to be headed any time soon, and he's going to fall away and probably die. So
he's a Danny Röhl. He's a Danny Röhl. It's a Bosman over to Macca.
He's out. You can go, and I'll just take his fee as well, a double fee.
Can you imagine him and Macca on the same one for about 5 or 6 weeks? Still talking about players that had left 3 months ago. Anyway, apart from anything else, big hi to Macca. I'm with you tomorrow night. Looking forward to it. Before we talk about the games, the World Cup, spotting Gianni Infantino putting the World Cup down next to the absolutely sensational looking Selma Hayek, I have to say. But nevertheless, there's a lot of negativity around. We already talked about the huge prices. We've talked about people that can't get in on the ESTA forums. We're talking about a referee that can't get in to the country. And the big news, obviously, is the fact that there are spare seats.
I seen that last night, Peter, at the South Korea Czech Republic game. There was a lot of spare seats, and people have not got the money to pay it. You're talking 500, 600, 700 quid for a ticket. And there's people just not going to pay it. Obviously, the Mexican game was sold out, at home in the Azteca. But there's going to be large swathes of empty seats in this competition because the prices are ridiculous. And probably not the Scotland game because I think Scotland fans would pay anything.
Yeah.
They're loyal. They want to pay and they want to go and watch the team. But other countries, I think there'll be a lot of empty seats.
And all that negativity around Qatar and it'll be too hot to play football. It's hotter in America right now. And, I asked Hugh McDonald over the last 24 hours whether it makes a blind bit of difference. All the complaints and all the things that go on that people want rectified about countries that host the World Cup. And, in the end, Qatar's just gone back to the way it always was. So there'll be no change to the way they conduct their, business. Their attitude to certain individuals. So America has received a hell of a lot of criticism. It wouldn't make a blind bit of difference. And Infantino is quite happy to take the money.
Yeah, I don't think it will. You've got a president in charge over there who doesn't really care what people think, and he just wants the world to come in. He wants the economy to be booming, and that's all he's kind of worried about. Trump. So. Yeah, I thought the opening ceremony last night in Mexico was great with Shakira, and the game was a good game. The Mexicans played well, they're off to a flyer. I didn't see the other game, obviously it was on in the middle of the night. But
why didn't you see it? I told you to get up.
I just checked the result this morning, but I think Canada are the next team. They play 8 o'clock tonight.
Are you just going to go through my whole running order?
No, I've seen it. I know the first, the three kind of nations are playing early, and then the USA I think are playing Paraguay at 2 in the morning. So I think once the home nations got off to a flyer, if they got off to a flyer, you'll see the tournament kicking in. But there's only one game for us, and that's Haiti in the early hours of Sunday morning. Yeah,
we're going to talk about that shortly. Thanks to so many of you for joining us. And don't forget, if you want to give your thoughts on how you think a game's going to go, we've got our World Cup predictor. We'll put the link in there for you. All you have to do is go in and put the scoreline in, and at the end of it, you could win yourself a painting, a print, a Scotland top. Well worthy of your consideration. And the great news, it's absolutely free. Doesn't cost you anything. All you have to get in there, register, and then put your prediction in. You never know, you might win yourself a prize at the end of the World Cup. Good luck with that. I've certainly been doing it. I've been enrolling and putting my predictions in. Got one right, one wrong so far. And as far as the tournament's concerned, once the football starts, it tends to take away any criticism that's come with the structure. Although I'm sure when this whole tournament ends, there'll be a lot of heavy criticism of the way it's gone so far. I think the common football fan is struggling to get to World Cups now. It's so corporate. apart from that, Mexico against South Africa, great ceremony, and then Mexico well deserving of their win, Ruffy.
I think there was only one team going to win it. Unfortunately, South Africa didn't have any firepower up front. And listen to the guys on the panel over there. I didn't understand the first goal. They were blaming the goalkeeper. No, you're not blaming the goalkeeper for that. It's the midfield there takes a bad touch. It's the way they do now. They build up for the back, and you've got players who are comfortable on the ball. So I didn't understand the criticism of the goalkeeper, but everybody's got an opinion on that. But I thought that the talking point, obviously, from that game was the sending offs. I think that the referee in the first game sets a precedent of how the referees are going to react through this game, and I hope, it doesn't get out of hand, because generally there's a lot of decisions you can't understand. The three last night, I could see why they were sent off.
Could you?
Yeah.
The second South African one?
Yeah, well, if they're saying it was an elbow in the face and they saw it, so it's a sending off.
It does raise his hand, Peter, and catches him. And listen, 25 years ago that was a play on, but now everything VAR.
You know what happens at World Cups, Tam? The referees are overzealous in their officiating, and then what happens is they're told to rein it back in.
Yeah.
I thought that second one was a disgrace.
I thought it was soft, but you can see why he's gave it. And I think the third one, I thought he was a wee bit wide. He only takes him out, but I thought he was a wee bit wide. Is it a clear goal, so an opportunity? No, really, for me.
Yeah, what they're doing is they're changing it now. Well,
a lot of rules been changed.
It is a goal scoring opportunity, because if he gets by the boy, he's putting the ball in. So you're like that, But you don't like to see tackles like that anyway.
Did you see there's a new rule change in the substitutions?
You have to go on the park in 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Are you playing with 10 men?
Yeah.
Yeah,
and he's got to wait a minute.
Imagine you're knackered or you're injured and you need to sprint off. But,
imagine the way you're the other side of the park.
Because that was the old ploy. You remember that, Ruffy, when
ages.
If you were 1-0 or 2-0 up in a game, or 2-1 up, Alec McLeish used that at the Hibs was, he'd go, right, you out on the left hand side, I'm taking you off in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And I'd have to do the slow walk right across to waste time, and I think a lot of clubs have done that since, so that's why
quite a lot.
It does.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's good from your own point of view, Ruffy, because the headline from today's programme is Ruffy slams Gary Neville, which
was it Ganae? It was Roy Keane. Was it Roy Keane?
Was it Keane? Was it Keane talking about the goalie?
Aye.
Yeah. Well, that's good
Nonsense.
then. Ruffy batters Keane on first touch. Nevertheless, it was do you know what? I'll tell you how it was a stupid pass. It was the same pass that was given to a player in the Scottish Premiership.
Motherwell.
And he took the touch, lost it, bang, goal.
But I think you've got to have a better touch. Now, even if you're under pressure, Peter, you know yourself, you've played in the middle of the park, you just knock it back to the goalie. If you think there's somebody up your backside, you knock it back to the goalie. You don't take a touch turn.
They must practice it.
Aye.
If the goalie puts it out and you see somebody pressing, you either put it wide or you put it back or you lump it.
But can I tell you something? You're looking, you're saying you're playing the way you're facing.
No.
He can't see, his peripheral vision wouldn't let him see that.
Would Pirlo lose that goal?
Eh?
Would Pirlo?
This is the problem with it. You've got to know your players, and I think that part of it was a big mistake. Talking of which, South Korea, scores the winner. Hey, what about this guy?
Do you know what? I always thought this had something about him.
Oh, can't wait.
Honestly, I always thought that he wasn't great at Celtic, but he was a big, powerful boy. He was quick. He could run in behind. He wasn't a great finisher at Celtic, and he was. Listen, I think he was written off early doors, but he since went to Belgium and was flying and got a move to Turkey, and he's banging goals in the World Cup, so he's done well for himself.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we talk about Scotland, let me tell you that if you go onto our YouTube site, you will see the first of my Straight Talk interviews for the summer. Going to be doing a lot of them. It's with Bernard Ponsonby. He was absolutely magnificent. He talked politics, talked television, talked football. It was just an absolute joy to be in his company for about an hour. And I actually had to cut the programme down, Ruffy, because he was just brilliant. He was great company. An old teammate of mine, because we were at STV for a long time together.
Yeah, I was in his company once at a dinner, and he was sitting beside me, and I had never met him before, and he was very knowledgeable, a wee bit like Hugh McDonald.
Yeah,
could talk about meeting people and talking about different subjects, and yeah, he was really interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Well worthy of your consideration if you want to have a look at that. Bernard Ponsonby on Straight Talk. There's lots of programming coming about. If you want to win yourself a Land Rover Defender, then why not get onto our competition? It's on the homepage of the YouTube site. We'll pick the winner on the 19th of July on Lucky Tiger's website. And that's a new partnership we've got with Lucky Tiger. not a bad one, because we already had a winner for the tickets for Scotland. There was a chance to go to see Scotland, Haiti, Scotland against Morocco, Scotland, Brazil, 14 nights accommodation and £1,000 spending money, or you could take the £18,000 cash. What do you think the girl who won it did?
I bet she took the cash.
She took the cash. She took the cash, Ruffy.
Well,
I mean, honestly, would you not go and just have 14 nights accommodation?
She's not into football. She's maybe not into football, maybe.
Yeah, but what about her cousins, her pals, her best mates, somebody?
I know, I would definitely have took the cash, I know.
Brilliant, Tam.
Football, that's right, yeah, 18 grand.
Okay, Scotland against Haiti. Scott McTominay has trained. Good news. Pick a side for me. Who drops out? Christie?
I think the goalkeepers are... Who do you think will play in goal, Ruffy?
well, I said Craig Gordon, but when the numbers come out and Gunn was number 1, that was a sort of indicator. Maybe at the time when you've got to lodge these squad numbers was a wee while ago.
Yeah.
You know,
Who's playing number 1?
I hope Craig Gordon. I hope Craig Gordon's playing. I really do.
Who do you think will play?
They'd probably pick Gunn, because I think Gunn's better with the ball at his feet, and we've seen goalkeepers. It's all about possession now. I don't think Gunn's a better goalkeeper than him.
Oh, who's your back four?
Back four would be
Hickey.
McKenna.
Are you helping him?
McKenna, I'd play Henry because of the climate, and he's good with the ball at his feet.
No Hanley then?
No, I'm not a Hanley fan. And if Robertson's playing, I'd like Robertson to be playing in a forward role.
But he's a captain.
No, I like him to play
wide
wide.
right
He's
in a
not,
four.
he's not going. He's not going. He's not going wide left. There's no chance.
Okay, well, it'll be Doak, McGinn, McTominay. He's got to play 2 up front. Who he plays off Shankland, I would say lying Christie. He likes Christie. Christie's got to be playing up just off him, not beside
Christie,
him.
McGinn, McTominay and Doak.
Yeah.
I'll be our midfield 4 and then...
Christie, McGinn.
Christie just off a Shankland.
I think he's going to play Shea Adams.
Oh, he's playing two strikers. He's played 2 strikers the last 2 friendlies.
I think he's going to play Shea Adams.
He'll play Christie on the right, he'll play Doak on the left, and he'll play McTominay and McGinn. Might play like in a diamond. Might play McGinn as a deeper one. McTominay up and then Christie and Doak.
You think
and then
so?
He'll play Adams and Shankland. Might play that, but I think that'll be the team.
Yeah. You going with that, Ruffy? You changing?
No, I prefer Robertson in a wider left position, getting into the box with a full back. I would probably play Tierney at the back and Robertson in front of him.
No, that's not going to happen,
Well,
Ruffy.
I know it's not going to happen, but I'm just saying that's what I would like to see.
Yeah, okay.
He's got to see if he plays with one striker.
He's not going to.
Oh.
He's 1,000,000% playing with 2 strikers. I think he's learned from Germany.
Yeah.
I think he's changed the system.
Plunge274 says, Scotland chat not for me. Why the bloody hell are you on the programme then? What are you watching it
That
for?
guy was on TalkSport, the Scottish guy, it was English.
I don't know. Why are you watching it? Why don't you... If you got a chance, why don't you go onto STV and you can watch England playing the World Cup in 1966? Because this
What
is...
happened there?
I don't know, but I was watching it the other day.
I know.
I'm watching it the
It's
other
a
day.
build-up.
I'm thinking to
I turned
myself...
on for the opening ceremony, and I go with Jeff Hurst.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm thinking to myself, why are we being subjected to that?
I thought England were playing in a couple of days. I didn't know they were playing the night.
It's unbelievable. It's absolutely bonkers, you know. And
That's what annoys a lot of Scottish fans. It's not the England team, it's the England
on
pundits.
STV.
Yeah,
On STV. I mean, it's honestly, it's supposed to be Scottish stuff that we want to see. We want to see the build-up. If they've got Ronnie Charters and Raman Bardwaj out there, get them on. Get them on. That's your channel. That's our channel. From our point of view, Ruffy, we're talking Scottish football. Plunge. I don't know what you are all about. You just got to get your act together. It's about supporting Scotland. What do you think's going to happen, Ruffy? We're going to win.
Yeah, I'm going to win. We're going to win 2-0.
Are you going on the predictor to say that?
Yes, I'm going to go 2-0.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely. You're going to go on the predictor and lodge in. That's fantastic.
Once you show me how to get in.
I was just about to say, he's just deleted 6,000.
Not know how to download an app.
He's just deleted 6,000 of his own messages. So he's got no chance of getting on the app.
And the viruses on it.
Yeah, go on.
3-1 Scotland.
Confident 3-1?
Yes, a confident 3-1, and I think Shankland will score the first goal.
Are you optimistic because Shankland's...
I'm really optimistic.
Think he's going to be the man?
I think we go 2 up front, and I think we're going to get after them. I think we're going to go 3-0 up, and they'll score late, 3-1.
Well, I hope that's the case. Give us your thoughts on it as well. We want to know what you think. Interestingly enough, I did tell you that there's quite a lot of people wondering about some of the programme that we're going to be doing over the course of the summer. And there's a great one, Ruffy, where basically I'm going to release it at the start of next week, where Hugh McDonald and myself have been in the car. We've been driving about and we're going round all the statues and commemorative plaques for some famous Scots along the way. It's just been an absolute joy listening to the legend.
Yeah.
He's in there like Obi-Wan Kenobi. He's telling me stories. I'm telling him stories. We had a great time, and we've been around a few monuments and tributes that I think a lot of people are going to enjoy.
Yeah, and obviously the people you're going to see are in the past, obviously. That's why they've got statues, but Hugh will have a story for just about every one of them. He's probably interviewed every one of them,
yeah.
And know the inside and outside of them all, so it'll be really interesting to listen to them.
Did you take him for a spaghetti carbonara after it?
No, I didn't, because he had a good shirt on. I thought, I'm not going to ruin it. And plus I had a good shirt on, and I thought, I don't want mine ruining either, as he starts to tell a story. Spaghetti carbonara is all over me.
That was unforgettable.
He is, isn't
unforgettable.
He? He's great for him. He was absolutely fantastic for him. I think you'll enjoy it, going round some statues of legends. Scottish football, fantastic, and beyond, let me tell you. We're in the car and we're filming it as well and chatting to each other, Ruffy. It's a great bit of banter, good stuff.
I can imagine.
Thoroughly enjoyed it.
It's the thing that people love watching, isn't it?
It's not quite the same as you, me and Gordon Smith driving up to Inverness that night, when I actually thought to myself, could I crash the car and get out of it in enough time to leave you two sinking in the river?
Yeah, it was a close one.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, Canada against Bosnia tonight, Ruffy. Are you going to watch all the games? Are you into it like that? I know you don't like international football.
I watch all the games. I'll not watch the games at 3 in the morning.
Let me. I was talking to somebody the other day and we were trying to analyse this. The Bosnia team. If Yugoslavia hadn't broken up, how many countries could be at that World Cup that were in that they all split
I think it's
up?
about 6.
6. Can you imagine what kind of team they would have?
Well,
Bosnia
it's
and
funny you
Serbia
saying that. I was watching
Croatia,
Montenegro,
Kosovo, and all that. Oof.
I was watching the last time Yugoslavia played at a World Cup as a combined nation, and they had an unbelievable side in '94, and the problem was that the country was on the verge of civil war, and it was the last time that they actually were able to play together, and they had Stojkovic in the side, and just an unbelievable team. But because of the mix of the nations, the players all got on well together. But the pressure of their families being threatened at home, suddenly they just imploded. It was just really, really sad. And of course, people go their own way. But you're right, Ruffy. What a team! The last team to play under the Yugoslavian flag was unbelievable. Canada against Bosnia. It's very difficult because you're actually looking at these games and wondering what the strengths of them, and can they actually acclimatise and get used to the heat? Can they perform on the big stage?
Yeah, this is a tough one, a tricky one to call. I thought Canada were good in the last World Cup. They a lot of good players. They're at home. Bosnia are obviously really excited. They get through for the first time in their history. They'll have a lot of support there as well. So I'm looking forward to that. It'll be a good game. I hope Canada do well. I've got a lot of relatives in Canada. I've been over on holiday a few times. Football's grown there as well. So I hope that the Canadians do well.
Prediction?
I'm going to go for 2-1 to Canada.
Yeah, I'm going to go 2-1 Canada, Ruffy.
2-0 Canada.
2-0 with conviction, as if you have been watching Canadian football for years.
I think the good thing about it is there's going to be a lot of Scottish-based players in the World Cup, and it'll be interesting if any of them are playing in any of the countries. It'll give us a wee bit of interest.
Over the course of Saturday, Ruffy, Qatar, Switzerland, Brazil, Morocco, USA against Paraguay. I'm definitely looking forward to watching Brazil, Morocco, just to give us a real sense of whether. I don't think Brazil are in the same mould as some of the previous teams.
No, they aren't, and I think obviously, sometimes I do a wee bit of research.
Yeah.
They did finish 5th in their group, the South American group, and never won that many games and a lot of draws. They scraped through at the end, but they still have 3 or 4 players that we know to watch, but I don't think we know much about them at all.
Yeah, I heard you say that on Let Me Be Frank with Frank McAvenny. It was absolutely brilliant, insightful stuff from you. It was fantastic. The other thing, and you did a podcast with First Class Credit Union as well, Ruffy. That was good stuff.
Oh, they were good fun.
Did you
the
enjoy
girls,
it?
Oh, the girls there were great. You know, it was more in depth, you know, about your personal life, which was sort of a
Did you sweat?
on you.
Were you sweating?
Yeah. Yeah, but no, she was great.
Yeah.
She's great, and she's going to come in and see you again. So, you know, they were
Get a
good
good
fun.
rate for your loan.
Good fun.
Yeah. Did you get a wedge?
No.
I have to say, well worth a listen, Ruffy, First Class Credit Union, who are indeed sponsoring a fantastic competition for us we're running at the moment. The top 50 players since the Premier League started in 1975 will announce the 50. But all you have to do with First Class Credit Union is quite simply click on the link on our website, select your player, not necessarily the best player, just the player you think is worthy of being in the top 50. And as soon as you register, it's absolutely free. We'll pick out a winner and you'll get yourself a chance to commission Gio Thompson to paint your favourite player on canvas, and you can put it on your wall. That'd be good. Who would you go for, apart from obviously you've now got your own sliding down the pole moment from Gio?
I'd either go Maradona or Messi.
Ruffy, if you were picking?
Yeah, that would be my two as well, yeah.
Yeah?
Yep.
Absolutely fantastic. You can pick one. So
David
with
Moyes for you.
Dave. Yeah, can I just say I thought it was really good, and I think I speak on behalf of everybody in the football show that we hope that Kevin Keegan and Kenny Dalglish have a speedy recovery from their setbacks at the moment, battling cancer. John Barnes, I think, is through the worst of it. I think John Barnes, again, another Liverpool legend that people are wishing the very best for. Give us your thoughts on the predictions. The World Cup predictor is alive and well. We'll put the link in there. I'll put the link in for First Class Credit Union as well. And over the course of the summer, there's lots of giveaways and lots of big news coming up in PLZ Soccer. I hope you enjoyed the programme. Fingers crossed to Steve, Clarke and the boys, whatever team he picks. I just hope they get the result that we are all craving. Will you be there at 2 o'clock in the morning, Ruffy?
Yes, I will be.
You're getting a wedge, aren't
Yes.
you? Who are you with?
I'm with Frank McAvenny.
Fantastic.
We're over in the Barrowland area. For
At
2
Bad.
o'clock at Bad.
Yeah.
It seems to be a good night. They've sold it well. You know, it's full, so good atmosphere there.
Brilliant.
See, before we go, we've not predicted who's winning it.
You haven't?
You haven't. Have you done it? Who you think is going to win the World Cup?
Spain for me.
Spain for you. Who are you going for, Ruffy?
Went for Spain, yeah. Do you know who my outsiders are?
Japan.
Go on.
Colombia.
Colombia to win the World Cup.
Yeah. They won the South American group.
Okay.
You know that
Twice.
El Chapo's deed and doesn't kind of pay off all the refs and buy
Yeah,
it.
absolutely. It's. Do
controversial.
you know who I've got for? Do you know who? Yeah.
Joke by the way.
No, by the way.
El Chapo, son's watching.
Tributes trickling in for Tam McManus, who was sensationally killed. But do you know who I'm picking?
France.
England.
England.
No way they're winning it.
England.
No
to
chance.
Win. Listen, I'm just telling you who I'm
Japan
going for.
50 to 1. I've had a 20 quid on them and I'll just announce
Did you get a chance to win watch the Southgate thing?
it was good.
No, I haven't watched it. Is it good?
Really good.
What about the
aye.
actor?
Really good, isn't he?
Yeah,
I thought it was him.
I'm going to watch it. I'll watch it, but yeah, I'm going to go for England. Simple as that, Ruffy. I don't think there's any kind of a superstar, prima donna, golden generation crap. I think they've got a good side, and as long as Harry Kane is fit, that team has a chance to go quite deep into that tournament.
Well, they usually do, don't they?
Yeah.
Well, if they win their group and Mexico win their group, they've got to go to Mexico in the last 16. And Mexico have lost 2 games in the Azteca in 65 years.
Yeah. Okay.
It's altitude.
That's why you are part of the team, Tam. That's the kind of research I like. By the way.
England are quite good at penalties.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, on that insightful last word from Ruffy. Enjoy the game and join us on Monday. We'll be back to look back over it. I'll be live on TikTok over the weekend as well, just giving you an update on our thoughts on some of the games and keeping you up to date with all those competitions. Don't forget, First Class Credit Union, you can win yourself a painting. If you go on the World Cup Predictor, you've got a great chance to win some fabulous prizes, and possibly the best one of all right now, right on our YouTube YouTube homepage, you can win yourself a Land Rover Defender. Very simple. With Lucky Tiger, all you have to do is enter the prize draw, click on the link. Good luck with that. Come on, Scotland. Come on, Steve Clarke and the boys. We want you to do well. Get us an opening win against Haiti, and then you never know. Thanks to Ruffy. Thanks to Tam, from myself, Peter Martin. Thank you for listening and watching.